out at the district level is critical in the sense that that is where the members are. You get it. So your direct contact with them and what you do and how you manage their issues is very, very important. I'm hoping that this is not going to be a one-off thing, that within the 4 years that you are going to serve as executives, at least the minimum we can do is have this at least twice before you are done. We'll do our best because it is through leadership that we build stronger organizations and institutions. The session you are having now with Lawyer Michael Bo, I know will be an interesting one. He's one of our own known faces within the association, and we call on him now and then to help in webinars, and he being a resource person here, I know he's going to tell you the facts as they are because he's a nurse himself. So I just want to wish you well in this training. When you go back, make sure that whatever you have learned, you put it into practice. Don't let everything pass through here and get out of the other ear. Make sure that you practice what you have learned and be impactful at the district level so that members will feel our presence and will benefit from good leadership in terms of GRNMA as a whole. Okay? So on this note, I want to say thank you to my colleagues. I have a cold, but I'll do the choboy for you. Choboy! Boy! Yeah.
All right, so Madam President, thank you so much. Somebody has that special question you want to ask Madam President. It's a rare opportunity. You won't get it anywhere.
It's not really a question. It's just a concern from my district. I think my predecessors were able to work on securing an office. So when we came, we've been able to prepare the place. And we are making follow-ups to your office, to our regional executives, so that we'll be able to finish our office. So it's just a reminder. Thank you.
Great. Has the letter been sent already?
Yes, please.
Has the region submitted it to national? Okay, then we'll definitely work on it.
All right, thank you.
And we encourage all other districts to also work hard. You can't wait for national to come and build a district office for you. So try as much as possible. The financial support we give to the districts, use that to acquire a place. I know since we started giving districts some quota, some have been able to purchase lands. They have built offices themselves. Some are renting. Some have been able to engage the employer to give them some space and all of that. So whatever it is that can work for you at the district, at least try. You need to try. Because there are still a number of things that we are doing at the national level. And not until we are done, we cannot move to the district to say we are doing anything. But you have the capacity to do it because others have done it. And I believe you can equally do it. So do the best that you can. And when it comes to giving you desktop computers, the printers, and all those things, we'll do well to support you in that direction. Yes.
I'm the person of Julius Topo, Aguna East District Chair. My question has to do with, I want to ask, why is the association now a threat in terms of the other labor unions? Because we realize that anytime we are embarking on strike actions or any other directives that you give us, the employer feels it's hard to accept that directive given us by you.
So, well, I don't know why you term it a threat, but that is the beauty of the profession you have as a nurse. You see, nursing is the hub around which all other services within the hospital setting especially runs. Without the nurse, which other aspect will function? That is why we seldom go on strikes, but when we have to, we do. Just like we did in the year 2020. And when we went on strike, I was expecting the doctors, the pharmacists, the labs, and all of them to stay there and work. But they couldn't work. They couldn't work. They couldn't work because, like I said, we hold the health system. Without our presence, nothing can go on. Because if you look at the hospital setting, for example, from the OPD to the ward, to the theater, to this, to that, and nurses at every point. There are certain places where you don't even have records unit. It's the nurse that will receive the patient and do the recording and all of that. So when the nurse is not there, how will the unit function? So when we threaten a strike, it is a big concern for the employer. An employer here, we are talking about the Ministry of Health and its agencies. I remember recently the issue about SNET and the sale of the hotels. When we issued that directive, I was there when I received a call. The chief director of MOH called me. He said, Perpetual, why this letter? But when it comes to SNET hotels, what has it got to do with the work that you do? What has it got to do with you? Why do you want to go on strike? I said, Chief, you have patience. Let me explain to you. He said, I'm not the one calling you. Minister said I should call you. And I said, look, it is an issue that concerns all of us. It is our pension. It is your pension. Collectively, it's our pensions. So if it's not being applied in a way that will benefit us to have what we can have when we go on retirement, then it's a source of concern for all of us. It is when we are working that we can fight for better pension. When we go on retirement, how do we fight for that? So after a long conversation, he told me that that's on a lighter note. Then bring me one of the red bands and let me put it on myself. So strikes are one of the important tools we use as labor organizations to fight for our welfare and to fight for better conditions of service. We seldom use it. But where there is need, we do, because sometimes it looks as if that is the only thing that the employer understands. But we hope and pray that we continue to be able to dialogue and have solutions to our issues, rather than have strike actions where everybody suffers. We ourselves, our patients, their families, everybody suffers. I've seen strike actions where nurses have been caught, they themselves, as emergency cases, and their colleagues were not there to take care of them. There have been instances where our family members have been caught in the line of some of these strike actions. So it affects all of us. And therefore, when there are issues, I expect that the employer will give it the maximum attention. They always refer to us as essential workers, and therefore essential workers are not supposed to go on strike and all of those things. But within that same law, it also says that because we are essential workers, when there is an issue, within topmost 72 hours, the issues should be resolved so that we can focus on our work and do what is right by the population of the country. So that's my response to you.
Thank you.
Any more?
Mine has to do with, the association have in mind any feminine or affirmative workshop for women in regards to role?
Okay, so we have the Women and Gender Committee. I'm sure you are aware of it. Yes, so that is one way that we push the issues of gender equity and inclusiveness. And the work of the committee has been in two ways to ensure that we empower the women within the association to be able to step up, offer themselves for leadership positions, and beyond that, to also be resourceful in your daily endeavors and to lead wherever you find yourself. There have been concerns that the men are not included, but for every event, they are also included. So it's for you too to be very resourceful in terms of leading in your various capacities, whether at the workplace, within the union, or everywhere. Most of the time, women find it difficult to step up and say they want to stand for this position, especially if it's a position that a man is also contesting. They feel they want to win. They feel certain issues will be used against them. They feel a whole lot of issues. But that is where we are trying to encourage and support and say that it doesn't matter what it is that you feel. You need to recognize the fact that without women in the governance structure, things will not move the way it should be, and therefore you need to step up and offer yourself to serve. Once you do that, you will have people who will support you to get that position. Even if you lose, it's not the end of the world. It's an opportunity for you to learn and to come back the next time to stand for that same position or something else. So it's a learning process, and I want to believe as we grow, as we go forward, we'll have more of our women, not only at the district level, but at the regional level and at the national level. Okay? All right.
Thank you.
I thought that was the last one. No. Okay, you, and then okay, then I'll take the lady. So 1, 2. Whisper it to her so that she'll add it to her own. Yes.
Okay, Madam President, thank you for this opportunity. I would want to ask this, that as nurses, do we have any insurance that governs us during our line of duty? Because some of us have been at other places that we have sustained maybe injuries or any other thing.
Okay. When it comes to insurance, it is not, it's the employer. The employer must provide that insurance coverage for its employees. It's very important. Within the law, and if I'm mistaken, Michael can draw, there is the workman's compensation. That is what is in there. So that if within the line of duty, something happens to you, the employer must pay a certain sum to you. There's a way they calculate it. They will be able to determine an amount to compensate you in the line of duty. But our employers haven't been able to provide that insurance coverage for what we do. So what they currently do is that when there's an issue, they will provide the legal support to aid you through the issue, especially when it's an issue that directly affects the entire institution, where you did not act alone on your own accord. Aside that, if we talk about medical insurance coverage, you and I know it is also not there. We don't have any coverage. When a nurse is sick, what happens? If the facility can support you, they give you something. If they can't, it becomes your own burden how to seek treatment and all of that. And the financial burden is sometimes very great. That's why the association has the health fund to support its members, especially for conditions outside the national health insurance. We are currently looking at avenues to create an in-house medical insurance. It will take a very long time, but we've tasked the socio-economic committee to look at how things can play out, and we are waiting for their final report to see whether it is feasible. If it is feasible, what it will mean is that every member, it won't become mandatory, to be voluntary. If you like, you join, where you pay a certain premium to ensure yourself medically. If you want to add your spouse and your children, then it will mean you are paying for all of them. You understand? So we'll look at those modalities and see how it can be rolled out if indeed it is feasible. So we'll wait for the report from the Socio-Economic Committee and see. Okay? Yes.
I loved NEC during the last boot camp and it was great. And I decided to recommend this to NEC. If they will buy it, it will be nice. I want NEC to institute something like GRNMA TV, like the Ghana Police TV. It will help us to educate, and also some of these conferences and some of this education, other members and even the community can also benefit from it. Please do this one for me. Thank you.
So it's already in the pipeline, if I should put it that way. You know, the media committee that we established, they are doing a lot of work, and they have been tasked to develop an online TV and eventually have digital, yes, or satellite or whatever it is. I'm not too sure of the name, but it is there. The media committee is yet to complete its program for the online TV, and hopefully once they start that one and are able to set the programs right, then we can look at moving it into the digital or satellite space. But just to assure you that some work is going on, and let's keep our fingers crossed that we'll get there. Okay? Yes, your hand was up.
Please, my name is Kwekwa Piajedu, Secretary Asen South District. Peptidoglycan. Please, my question is, since you are here, we want to get an update on the court proceedings regarding our recent agreed condition of service.
That's a long one.
What actually is stated?
Okay, so I don't even know where to start from. But if I don't go back in time, you will also not understand. The union that has taken us to court, they are a small section of people who broke away from our mental health society. That's one of the societies under the GRNMA. And when they started, we had notification from the Labor Department that these are nurses who say they no longer belong to GRNMA. Is that the case? Because they are applying for trade union certificates. We responded and said they are members, and therefore the Labor Department should not grant them any union certificate. But we did not end there. We tried to engage them, find out why they want to leave and why won't they stay together with all of us, because we don't need any more these. We invited them to Accra. They are based in Ankafo here. They said they won't come. So we moved ourselves. I led the team from Accra. We came to meet them at Ankafo. When we got there, everything they said, to be frank, didn't warrant they having to break away, because they made reference to a welfare scheme they established, and that the leaders of the mental health society, they were not contributing, they were not doing this, they were not doing that. And I said, these are internal problems that can easily be resolved. That shouldn't warrant you going ahead to break away and form another. But at the end of that meeting, they said they were sorry, they were going to continue doing whatever it is they wanted to do. We did not end there. We talked to the then registrar of the Nursing and Midwifery Council to intervene. So he invited them to the NMC in Accra. We were also there. We had a meeting. They reiterated the same thing. The registrar pleaded with them to listen to us as leaders within the Nursing and Midwifery fraternity, that we don't need any more groups or unions, so they should let us stay together as one. When they left, they wrote a letter to the registrar and said they have heard everything we said, but they still stick to their guns. They are not going to stay. They are leaving to start a union on their own. At a point, the chief program officer for nursing and midwifery, Dr. Barnabas Yeboah, also came to Cape Coast here for a program. He invited them to come and meet with him. He talked to them. They said no, they don't want to. So at the end of the day, we said, fine, if we have tried all this and you still think that what you think you want to do is the best, then we have to leave you too. So we just stopped and we left them. In terms of whatever it is they have been doing, it is not for us to follow them to know what it is that they are doing. When it comes to the conditions of service, usually a proposal is developed and it is submitted to the Fair Wages for negotiation. In developing the proposal, we wrote to all the unions that we knew. We wrote to UPNMG. We wrote to Ghana Registered Midwives Association. We wrote to National Association of Registered Midwives. We wrote to CONAC for them to bring their proposals. When we received the proposals, we had 2 or 3 meetings where we tried to harmonize everything because it was different, but we harmonized it into one document. When we finalized it, we submitted it to Fair Wages and we gave all of them copies that this is what we have submitted to the employer for negotiation. Then the employer wrote to us requesting us to come and sign the rules of engagement for the negotiation, which we did, and then the negotiation started. We went through the negotiations over a period of 3 or 4 months. We concluded, we signed it, and then it was for the employer to now write to Ministry of Finance and say that we have concluded, this is the document, that it's implemented for us. And indeed, it went to Finance. We were following up. The Minister of Finance was about, the letter was even, she did it. That's the Minister of State for Finance, Honorable Abuna. She did it. And they were going to send it to Controller for implementation and the Ministry of Health. When this group sent their injunction, which was for 10 days to stop the implementation of the conditions of service. And then when the 10 days expired, they went in for a substantive injunction on the implementation. And that is what we are fighting at this time, that we are telling the courts that those small number of people cannot hold the over 100,000. We are about 147,000 nurses across the country. And less than 500 people, they are about 200 or 300, should not stop all of us from getting what is rightfully ours. So that is the contention with the court at the moment. That is the first part of the court case. The second part of the court case is where they are demanding that we pay them 1 million Ghana cedis, an additional 300 and something thousand Ghana cedis, altogether about 1.3 or 1.4 million. And that it is because we frustrated them in becoming a union. And that we stopped them at the Labor Department. We sent them to the NMC. We did this, we did that. So the court should fine us 1 million to compensate them and all sorts of things. So that is the two-way of the court case. But the first part is to get the court to put aside that injunction that they are calling for, to stop all of us from getting what is rightfully ours in terms of what has been negotiated. So the next sitting will be October 20th. I can't remember the date, but it's somewhere October. And we are hoping that at that sitting, the judge will do the needful and set aside the injunction that they are calling for. Once that is done, we should be able to follow up on the employer to get our conditions of service implemented. Okay, so that is the response to the question that you asked.
My name is Mahama Abudu, District Chair for Asin Central. First of all, I want to thank you and your executive for making this association attractive. That this is the best time we all can smile. My concern have to do with our nursing uniform. Please, I want to know if there are measures put in place to get it customized or being legislated in a manner that only nurses are allowed to wear the uniform, because sometimes it's difficult to differentiate who is a nurse among the citizens.
So that is one question that I hope you all take this and then you also explain it to our colleagues. You see, when you look at the laws of Ghana, when it comes to Registrar General and all of those things, they do not have provision for us to register our uniform. The last time we were there, they told us even the police, the military, and all the rest, their uniforms are not registered. So it is for us, if we want to be distinct from the others who may wear white or green, let us follow the dress code and dress properly. We are nurses. When I see somebody who is a nurse, I can tell. When the person is not a nurse, I can tell. It's just that the general public, it may be difficult for them to tell. But once we dress properly, we should be able to set ourselves aside from the rest. We have a dress code. If you are wearing the green, you know it's going with your black shoe or your brown shoe. If you are in the hospital, when you enter the hospital facility, there are other things that you add on. When you are wearing it ordinarily, you have your breast watch, you have your pen, you have this. All those things shows that you are a nurse. When you are in the white also, you are supposed to wear your white shoe with your white socks. You are wearing your white belt or your blue belt or your green belt or your violet belt, or now there's gold, there are other colors. And you are wearing your small earring, your hair is tight, it's not touching your collar. And all those things. If it's makeup, simple makeup, nothing extraordinary, you can set yourself aside from the rest. Because those who wear the white for catering or for whatever, they wear the white, they are wearing some by hat sandals, straps, with their hair flying in, with their nails painted, and all of those things. So you shouldn't look like that. You must look like a nurse. But just to let you understand that there's no avenue for us to register the uniform. Okay. So I guess that brings me to the end of the session. Thank you very much.